Toyota League Leaders shows us that his job is to get on base any way possible. Hits, walks, you name it. And he's been on base in 17 consecutive games. That's the third longest active streak in the major leagues. And that coincides somewhat with Ned Yost dropping him down in the batting order. Speaking of Esky, he's down in the Royals dugout with Joel Goldberg.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Chance to catch up with Alcides, and things are going well at the plate right now, too. What's been the biggest difference as you've been hitting lately?
Right now I'm working a lot with those swing. They give me some tips, and I'm feeling really good on the home plate. I'm looking for more pitches. Right now I take like a little bit more and be ready for the fastball, and feeling really good.
So you've got that going right now for you, and I want to ask a little bit about from a defensive standpoint. You've had a lot of different double play partners over the years. Now you're working with Witt for the most part. What kind of adjustment was that?
For me, like I say, man, I'm working every year like different guys, like Omar, Witt right now. When I'm starting here in 2011, 2012, a different guy too. For me, it doesn't matter. Just go outside and play hard and trying to make some double play.
We talk so much about the double play combination, but then on the other side, you still have to be able to communicate with the third baseman on some things too. So what has it been like playing with Chesler?
Chesler, he playing really good third base, and he can play second base really good too. And I feel comfortable with those guys. Young guy, got a lot of talent, and those guys he can move it.
Last thing, we've seen you bat first, obviously, for a long time, and a little bit of second, lately seventh or eighth. Does it matter?
For me, it doesn't matter, man. Ned told me about that, and I say, man, I can hit in first, second, eight, seven, whatever you want to put me in the lineup. I'm hitting.
Well, keep it going wherever you're at in the lineup, and keep swinging that stick and making those plays. We appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's Alcides Escobar back in there, of course, tonight at shortstop, as he is every single game. Ryan, let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, Joel, so Esky back on track. Kendrys Morales back on track. The Royals need a couple of outfielders to join that list, and we'll discuss that when we come back. Time for the first pitch between the Royals and the Phillies. So we just heard Joel talk with Alcides Escobar, who's back on track with a 12-game hitting streak. Kendrys Morales might be the hottest thing going right now in Major League Baseball, and the Royals could use a couple of outfielders to get on that list as well. Let's begin with Alex Gordon.
That's right. Alex Gordon been tinkering a little bit with his stance. Standing upright, a little bit taller now. But you know what? The fans miss him. That's exactly right. But Ned and the team needs his offense. That short, quick, compact stroke there, they want that back. He's got to get that ball to left field, hit it to the opposite field so he can react to that curveball and those breaking balls that come in and shoot it out of the yard. But see him with his knees bent and his waist bent over a little bit, that's going to make him a little bit more comfortable. Let's see how he can do, but Alex Gordon is a much needed commodity.
And Ned Yost talks about why he put him back in the leadoff spot.
You're going to get going whatever slot you're in. The reason we got him there is because even when he struggles at times, he still takes walks. So it keeps his on base up over 300, and we've got Witt behind him who can do some things with the bat. So, it's just a matter of time before he gets hot.
All right, Alex kind of falls in that category of Kendrys Morales, where there's a track record. You figure eventually he's going to get his numbers back. I wouldn't say Paulo Orlando is struggling right now, but he was just going so well there for so long. Now, he doesn't have a track record, and I imagine the league is trying to adjust to his swing.
Oh, they are for sure, because this is the game of adjustments, but pitching has to find a way to get it underneath his bat. Paulo Orlando was lava hot. That's right, there's 3 categories. There's in a tree, there's firecracker, and there's lava. He was there, wants to get back to it, but look, using the big part of the field has been a big key for him this year. You see that average in June, 450, he raked. Now, kind of calmed down a little bit now, and it's coming back to earth.
And the Indians actually lost the game.
Shocked the house. Really?
They lost in Toronto, so the 14-game winning streak comes to an end. So with a win tonight, the Royals can pick up a game in the American League Central as they play Game 2 with the Philadelphia Phillies. Danny Duffy, Aaron Nola is our pitching matchup. The lineups and the first pitch are coming up next. Brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. and by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. So the Royals with a chance to pick up a game in the Central thanks to a loss for the Indians in Toronto. Let's take a look at our Mazda game break. The game was tied in the 8th inning at 6. This is Josh Donaldson into center field. Ezekiel Carrera burning around third base. Carrera was called out. He wanted the Blue Jays to challenge, which John Gibbons did. And the call was overturned. The Blue Jays took the lead 7-6 there, and they won 9-6. So the Indians' team record 14-game winning streak is history. The Royals have already picked up a half game with their loss and can make it a 6-game deficit with a victory tonight. And by the way, the Royals have already been down by 7 games and made up for it in the Central Division this year after the Chicago White Sox got off to a hot start.
Yeah, they've experienced it, but you know what? They're going to experience it again. This team is too good, especially when they get some more identity, better pitching, and that starting staff working. They're going to figure it out. But I can tell you what Terry Francona said after that game up there in Toronto. Fellas, we'll start another one tomorrow. That's all you do. Baseball's like that. It's amazing, but a great run for Cleveland. No question.
Sometimes, however, winning streaks turn into losing streaks.
Yeah, when you won for a long period of time, you better believe it. The Grim Reaper is waiting for you in this game.
Well, the Grim Reaper has been rough on Aaron Nola, who will be pitching for the Phillies tonight. Aaron Nola was a big part of the Phillies' fast beginning to the 2016 season, fueled by good young starting pitching. But perhaps the league has adjusted to him because Nola has really struggled in his last 4 starts. And when I say really struggle, I mean really struggle, as if not even getting through 4 innings in any of his last 4 starts, and has an ERA of 15.23.
Yeah, and you know, he's not an overpowering pitcher. And he's got to be just about perfect. He's got a lot of moving parts, arms and legs, but his breaking ball is a little bit flat in the zone, and left-handers over his last 4 starts are raking him at a 486 average. So look, if they can't get a hold of this guy tonight, there's something really wrong with our offense. I'm expecting good things against this young man.
He was the Phillies' first-round pick just 2 years ago out of LSU. Here are his overall numbers. He's a strikeout pitcher. He's struck out more hitters than innings pitched. He's only given up 9 home runs in 91 innings. That's remarkable for any pitcher, especially in this ballpark. 23-year-old Aaron Nola. And a look at our Kubota power stats. He has struggled somewhat at home. His numbers as far as ERA goes, pretty balanced home and away, but a little more trouble here. And if you watched the broadcast last night, we were telling you how the Phillies have played better on the road lately than they played at home. Last night in beating the Royals, that put an end to a 7-game home losing streak. And now the lineup that Aaron Nola will face tonight. Alex Gordon, Whit Merrifield, Kendrys Morales, who hit a 2-run home run last night. So Morales now has a 7-game hitting streak. Eric Hosmer, Salvador Perez, Chesler Cuthbert, and then Alcides Escobar with his 12-game hitting streak. Gerard Dyson in center field, and Danny Duffy will handle the bat tonight against Aaron Nola.
Look at Morales. He's checking out Nola every single pitch right now. But last night, he already knew about Hernandez. That's a pitch that was right over the middle of the plate. Short, compact, got some back underside. That's that backspin that you got to have to get that carry over that wall. And man, Morales, hopefully he'll continue to stay lava hot and carry that offense. Look at him. He's watching the pitcher. That's what you guys got to do. Young players out there, watch the pitcher when in his warm-up pitches. See if you can pick up something, and by the time you get to that batter's box, you already have a game plan against him.
Outside, ball 1 to Alex. Alex was on base twice last night. He opened the game with a single, and then he also walked in the 5th inning. Fastball riding away. 1 ball, 1 strike. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of hitters so-called watching the pitcher tonight because of the 18 combined hitters that are in starting lineups. There's only 1 hitter that has seen the pitcher he will face tonight before. All 9 Royals have never faced Aaron Nola, and only former Royal Andres Blanco, who's at shortstop, has had any at-bats against Danny Duffy.
Well, the difference in pitchers is Nola averages 90 miles an hour. Duffy 95, 96 miles an hour is what he averages. So look, there's a little difference in that. In facing a soft tosser, a guy that doesn't throw as hard can be a little bit tougher. There you go. Because of the off speed. We'll show you his pitches here and what he's got. That's a good little running 2-seamer there. Fastball, he's got a couple different variations. 4 and 2-seam. He'll throw that sinker. More of a runner. It's not a downward sink. It's more of a running fastball. Alex just saw it. It ran away from his bat, struck him out. Big curve, changeup. Curveball, couple different kinds of curves. And he'll come out there a little bit lower than the 3/4 arm slot, and he'll throw one from there. It's a little bit flatter, and it stays hittable in the zone. Doesn't have a lot of downward movement to it.
Fastball for a strike to Merrifield. Witt had a 2-hit game last night. 2-hit Witt, one of his first nicknames since joining the Royals, and he scored one of the 3 runs. And that's well hit into the left field corner and off the wall. A 1-out double for Whit Merrifield, and he just missed hitting a home run. There's mom and dad, brother and sister.
Yeah, that's a more of a polite golf clap, I would say. But you know what? He got the job done. Gets under that just a tad more, like you said. That's an out of here. But look, just get on base and see if they can keep the line moving early. And don't let Nola get comfortable.
So a man in scoring position for Kendrys Morales. Kendrys was 1 for 4 last night. He could have easily been 3 for 4. One of his outs was in the 1st inning with 2 on and nobody out, and he hit a rocket on 1 hop to the second baseman Hernandez, who turned it into a double play. And he also lined out to deep right center field before hitting the 2-run home run in the 8th.
First pitch to Morales, it was the running 2-seam fastball. It's not a sinking, but going straight flat across the zone. If you try to pull that pitch when it starts in the middle of the plate, you're going to miss it. So start thinking away right now and then adjust in, react in.
Carlos Ruiz is back of the plate tonight. That runs way outside. 2-1.
And knowing Ruiz, the veteran, knows how hot Morales is. No, he's not going to give him a cookie to hit here. Okay, I just want to put him over on first base, see if he can get a little, induce a ground ball double play. I'll be shocked if they give him anything good to hit.
Way outside again, 3-1 with Hosmer on deck.
Some guys you just can't let beat you. Morales is one of them. I'm sure Pete McCannon, first-year skipper, been around the game a long time. Says, look, just put him on. Without actually giving him an intentional walk.
Well, we saw that backfire last night for the Phillies. Remember, Alcides Escobar was at second base, and they really didn't want to pitch to Cheslor Cuthbert with the pitcher coming up, but instead of intentionally walking him, they tried to get cute, and Cuthbert drove in a run. Shattered bat, and it drops foul. So a 7-game hitting streak. Last night he snapped a career high 6 multi-hitting streak, batting .607 with 4 home runs and and a slugging percentage over 1100.
Which is off the chart type numbers. If you hit 300 in this league, that's considered a good mark. If you're hitting 600 over a period of time, you're doubly great.
Inside for ball 4. And maybe the pitch before that could have been ball 4.
It was the same pitch. And hopefully the bat that Morales broke on that pitch wasn't his special bat he's been raking with.
Eric Hosmer was 1 for 4 with a double last night. So for the second straight night, the Royals have 2 runners in the first inning. Last night, Hellickson got out of that with a couple of ground balls, 1 for a double play.
So, you know, that's just plain smart. You got a double play situation. Haas doesn't exactly ground into a lot of double plays, and he's going to be looking to elevate. Last 4 starts against left-handed batters, man, high average. Time for a little pilot to bombardier early in the first inning.
And Ned Yost has all of his left-hand bats in there. Gordon, the switch hitter Morales, Hosmer, and Dyson. Dyson gets a start tonight over Paulo Orlando, and I imagine some of that has to do with how left-hand batters have beaten up Nola in his last 4.
For sure.
Outside, Ruiz hesitates before returning the ball back to Nola. He thought that was a strike. Dan Bellino is the home plate umpire.
See Hosmer's interleague numbers there. Nice. That's the pitch Haas wants, the one he just took. He wants that pitch out away. They've been trying to pound him in, and they've been successful. He needs to learn how to take that pitch. There you go. That's the one he wants. Anything middle away, he's going to pound, and you know they've been coming so far inside on him. I mean, they've been beating him in there, and he's swinging at him. They're going to keep doing that until he lays off of it. Hosmer's swing is not designed to be able to pull those pitches 3 inches on the inside part of the plate, or even just off the plate. He's more middle away.
2-2.
I mean, how many home runs have we seen Haas pull this year? Maybe 1. I remember 1, maybe 2 in right field, but most of them, all the others come straight away center field and left.
Well, if he's pulled it, it's more toward right center field. But to your point,
3
and
right.
But how many of those were either to dead right or near the foul pole? I'll bet some of those were closer to right center field than they were straightaway right.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Nola will get the out at first, and that moves Merrifield up to third and Morales to second.
Good pitch. So to get him to pound it, a little worm burner right there. Phillies defense. Blanco, 5th started shortstop this season. That's a good fielder, former Royal. Pretty good defense. Got some speed in the outfield.
The veteran Andres Blanco, which for longtime Royals fans, it'll seem impossible. He made his Royals debut at the age of 20 and had a big influence on Salvador Perez. Salvi was telling me the story that Blanco was back in the minor leagues on a rehab assignment just as Salvi was beginning his professional career, and Blanco gave him some advice that Salvi really grabbed onto, not just about playing the game, but learning a new culture and being in professional baseball, listening to your coaches, appreciating the rules, following the rules. The rules are there for a reason.
Most managers don't have a whole sheet of rules. Usually it's just a couple, at least in our day. And back in the day, they would say, be on time and give me 100% of what you got that day. So if you're only 80%, I want 100% of that 80.
Salvi was 0 for 3 last night. Hit by a pitch. Breaking ball stayed out over the plate, and Nola gets a pop-up. Hernandez backpedals out into shallow center field. So for the second night in a row, the Philly starter survives a couple of base runners in the first inning. On the mound for the Royals tonight, coming off one of the best starts of his big league career. Overall 25 appearances. He's now made 9 starts, 79 strikeouts in 66 and 2/3 innings, and the opponents are hitting just .230 against him. And how about just 16 walks in 66 and 2/3 innings?
Well, that's the statistic right there that's the most eye-popping. You know, Danny Duffy, he used to just was sometimes effectively wild, but now he's filling that strike zone up. Only 11 home runs, and all off of right-handed bats. This is the only left-hander Pete McCann put in his lineup tonight to lead off the game.
And Odubel Herrera takes high. He had a big game last night. He homered leading off against Ian Kennedy. Walked, stole a base, and scored a run in the 3rd, and then drove in a run in the 6th inning. 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs last night for the Phillies leadoff man. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So we'll show you why most opposing managers, if not all, put all their right-handed hitters in there against Duffy. Lefties, hard to hit. He sets him up with that fastball, then he sweeps that breaker away, and he's got a nice changeup that he'll usually only use against righties.
Here's Pete Mackanin in his first full season as Phillies manager. He took over on an interim basis in the middle of last year. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Odubel Herrera. 306 average, 9 homers for the leadoff hitter. He's got some pop. Had a game last night.
Broken bat and an easy play for Hosmer. A shattered bat. A split bat. That bat didn't break in half. It split right down the middle of the barrel like it was hit with a hatchet.
That high heater that got way in on his hands. Buzz on it.
Now he can get in his canoe and use that to paddle on the lake.
He could. There was a long-time coach named Jimmy Reese who was with the Angels that used a fungo like that. It was split. It was cut down the middle, and he would throw batting practice with it. That's how good this guy was. And he would condition all the outfield pitchers with his fungo, and he'd hit it to him. It was a magic wand. The guy stayed in baseball till he was 95 years old. It's amazing. Jimmy Reese. Oh,
Borges to the gap, and he can really run. That's a tough angle out there. That's an easy triple for Borges. One of the most unique outfield walls in all of Major League Baseball. Left center field here at Citizens Bank Park.
Well, it's got an angle that goes back towards center field, and you know that they took batting practice on the field today, and Dyson's got to know that that ball is going to hit off of that wall, that angle, and head towards the 401 mark. Could have held him to a double, but played it into a triple. If this was the first game and the first day and they didn't take any batting practice or anything, I can understand, but they were out there all day today. As an outfielder, you got to know the dimensions, the little nooks and crannies out there, and go over those so you don't let that happen.
And now Andres Blanco, switch hitter. Royals will bring the infield in with one out in the bottom of the first inning.
That tells Ned Yost that he thinks it's going to be a low scoring game.
Blanco played with the Royals parts of 2004 through 2006. One hop to Cuthbert. Borges made a move down the line but decided to hold. So Duffy needed a ground ball with the infield in, and that's exactly what he got.
Now, if you're the runner like Borges, it's early in the game. You know, if the first baseman on this play, he knows if he doesn't have a good throwing arm, you might try him. But Eric Hosmer possesses a cannon over there. He would have nailed it by a long shot. Royals defense sponsored by Ford. Hosmer is an Iron Man over there at first base. With a great glove, great ability with the picks, the way he can throw. He's a valued commodity. Then Ned Yost does not want him out of the lineup. Even when he's going cold offensively, which doesn't happen very often, Hosmer saves a lot of runs with that glove.
Ball one to Michael Franco. He was on base 3 times last night and drove in a run. Vicious swing at a fastball at 97.
He aired it out. And you know, against a hard thrower like Duffy, the hitter doesn't have to stride very far at all. Just pick up that foot and set it down. Just trust those hands and use them. Let the power of Duffy's fastball provide that power, but got to stay out of the middle if you can. Pitch up like that, that's a good pitch for him.
Off the end of the bat, off of Duffy's glove. He's still got time, and he throws it away. They're going to call that a base hit. So Franco drives in Borges, and the Phillies lead 1-0.
Just off his glove, we've seen Danny Duffy make some really good plays over there towards first base, but a very tough angle for him to try to pick it with his bare hand and throw it. It's something that he's not used to doing. He had to make a perfect throw to get it. Danny wants to let that go,
which he's done a very good job of. In his last start, which was a brilliant one for him against the Cardinals, he gave up a 2-run home run in the first inning to Matt Holliday. So 3 batters into the game, and Duffy and the Royals are down 2-0. 1-1 on Tommy Joseph. Danny cruised the rest of the way. Only gave up 4 hits, no walks in the next 7 innings. But I remember after the game he was asked a few different times about settling himself down after giving up the 2-run home run. 2-1 on Joseph. And I was impressed because the way Danny answered the question was basically like, I didn't feel like I had to settle down. I mean, I just gave up 2 runs. It was only the first inning.
His poise has improved immensely.
Long run for Kendrys Morales, and that'll go back into the crowd. And fair or not, that's a label that Danny's going to carry with him for a while, because very early in his major league career, he would admit, and his managers and pitching coaches would talk about, just staying calm in a pressure situation. And that has not been an issue at all this year. Good take by Joseph. I think Danny put that pitch exactly where he wanted it. Tommy Joseph came on as a pinch hitter late in the game last night and struck out against Brian Flynn. He's at first base tonight with Ryan Howard on the bench. Franco takes off, and Danny goes with a changeup to finish off the Phillies in the bottom of the first inning. With 2 down, Franco's infield single scores Borges, and the Phillies lead 1-0. He'll hit 6 tonight. Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. And we've discussed this just in the last week. And here are the numbers to prove the point that Chesler and some of his at-bats, when he's fallen behind in the count, it really hasn't been the end of his at-bat. He's been turning a lot of 0-2s into 2-2s and 1-2s into 3-2s. And that was the 7th best number of pitches per plate appearance in the month of June.
That's an important category to be in. When you're seeing more pitches, you're becoming a much more confident hitter. Talking with Dale Swain before the game about Cuthbert. He told me, as we went over most of the hitters in the lineup, when I got to Cuthbert, he says Cuthbert is right there. He wants to continue to keep his swing where it is. He's staying in the middle of the field with it. He's confident. He's got a good level swing. And he's been competing in his at-bats. That's the biggest thing a hitter can do. Compete. Get up there and compete. Depending on the count, like 1 and 2 here, he's going to put that long home run swing away unless it's an off-speed pitch that floats up there. He's going to turn on it. Compete.
There you go. Tough pitch. Fouls it away.
Saw a lot of nice plays in the stands here last night.
Look at that guy. He had it made there. He gave the ball away. She doesn't want it. Nice try, buddy. I think she's with somebody else.
He's got a Philly steak.
Yeah, cheesesteak in one hand and a Major League Baseball in the other hand.
I think if you'd offered the lady the cheesesteak, she would have taken that.
Just outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. I mean, this is Philadelphia after all.
That's right.
The Kansas City version would be, would you like a baseball or would you like a burnt end sandwich?
That's right.
There you go. Just what we were talking about. From 1-2 to 3-2. Escobar is on deck, and then Dyson.
Cuthbert's not much for walking. He only has 9 walks this year.
There he is. Stays in the center of the field. Cuthbert is on to begin the second inning. That was a pretty good pitch. That pitch was down.
Sure was. But Cuthbert's been really bending that back leg and getting down to leverage. That's a good strike. It's right on the middle of the plate.
More up than I thought it was.
That's okay. You see that back leg though. See, watch him. Freeze it right here. Freeze it. Look at that. See, he's bending that knee so he can get down a little bit to where he can drive this pitch that way. It's really a nice swing. He's able to stay down low with it, drive it right back up the middle where it came from.
Alcides Escobar. 2 more hits last night, both doubles. So he has a 12-game hitting streak. And in 9 of those 12 games, he's had more than 1 hit. He's done particularly well against the National League this year. 6 doubles, a triple, 8 runs scored. We haven't seen a lot of that from him. The closest Alcides Escobar came to 300 since coming to the Royals was 4 years ago. He batted .293, and it seemed like, this is probably not accurate, but it seemed like he tried to bunt at least once per game, if not once every other game. Good breaking ball down and away, 1-2.
In order for Escobar to hit for a higher average, he doesn't walk a lot. First of all, if you want to hit for a high average, you got to be able to get those base on balls, and then that takes away one of your bats a night and get a hit. And so he's got to be able to do that bunt. It's a good weapon for him. He's got his average up to 264. He was as low as 240 on June 17th this year. And Esky said, I'm tired of hitting down there. I need to get my average up. I got to start putting the ball in play to the opposite field and quit trying to pull it. But on an off-speed pitch like that, he's going to.
That Royals fan has had prouder moments in his life.
Yeah, you know what? He got the bad hop. He was on it. And it just took a bad hop on him. Get the next one.
Pass Blanco off of his glove. Cuthbert will stop at second base. And Escobar has a 13-game hitting streak. And the Royals have runners at first and second with nobody out.
Escobar at the last minute rolled over his hands, and to see that ball had topspin on it. 2-3 hops. That's going to pick up speed as it gets through the infield. Good try. See if they can get something going here. Now remember, there's nobody out here. Hey, Danny Duffy's hit behind Gerard Dyson. Let's see if he learned anything from St. Louis. We want to swing and knock in that run. Don't trust the pitcher to do it.
Curveball for a strike. Dyson did not play last night. Paulo Orlando shifted over to center field. Dyson pounded that one off the plate. When we were in St. Louis, you and I noticed before the game that the area in front of home plate almost had standing water when they were singing God Bless America and the national anthem, and of course that absorbed into the soil once we got to first pitch. But I tell you what, that isn't wet, that is muddy in front of home plate.
That's right. they want that ball on contact to stay down. So the moisture in the dirt is better. It keeps the ball down.
Chance for two. Hernandez. Blanco with Dyson speed, and Cuthbert got back in time. Blanco recognized with Dyson going up the line that was not a double play ball, so he turned to third and almost caught Cuthbert. And Mike Jersley is going to offer some words of counsel.
Yeah, you know, that's a heads-up play by Blanco. A lot of times you can catch that runner ahead of you, nap it. Cuthbert, unfortunately, didn't take that one extra step. It might have been a double play there.
So it's first and third for Danny Duffy. 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt in 2 plate appearances. That was against the Mets in June. And he'll take low, ball 1. He is 0 for 10 with a couple of sac bunts and a run scored as a big league hitter.
So if he does get that bunt down, it's up to Cuthbert at third base to read the bunt, depending on how good it is. And Gerard Dyson on a straight steal, if Duffy's bunting and he sees Dyson go, you got to pull the ball back because you could pop it up and get a double play and get out of the inning. So this is a little bit of a instinctive test right here for the base runners.
So even if he gets a buntable pitch, he pulls the bat back?
If he steals, he's got to be able to be aware of that.
And he bunts it over the mound. No play. The Royals tie the game. Danny Duffy gets his first major league hit.
To the amusement of his teammates. And Duffy says, I knew I could do it all the way around. Get that ball. Come on, you got to throw that ball in there. Those guys want that. That's for Duffy's trophy case.
And Nola finally rolls it over to the Royals dugout. He also got his first major league RBI.
Now, you don't see very many bunts like this anymore. There was a few guys that used to do it, but watch this placement. And Dyson read it. They hesitated just a minute. That's a beauty. Way to help yourself, Duff. Hey, Cologne.
Now, I don't know if he meant to bunt it over the pitcher, but as hard as he bunted it, it looked like he was trying to do what a right-hand batter would do to the right side, push it by the mound.
Now, we didn't see that push exactly, but you know, pitchers aren't used to bunting a whole lot, but I think that it just got the meat of the bat. It was perfect.
0-1 on Alex.
I mean, if he bunted all the time, you'd say, yeah, he did. Let's see if he tries to stab at it at all.
I think he did.
Yeah,
I think he tried to.
You might be right. We'll have to ask him about that.
That did not look like. Now, again, you're talking about an American League pitcher, but did that look like a guy who was trying to deaden the ball?
No, he got some backspin on it.
Yeah.
That little backspin had plugged and took a little bit of a left turn on the shortstop, Blanco.
Good movement. 0-2 on Alex. Nola struck him out to begin the game. Got him with a fastball riding up and away.
Wonder how many pitchers got their first big league hit with a bunt. That's probably a few.
Quite a few, considering how often they drop down a sacrifice. You know, sometimes a sacrifice can be misplayed into a base hit.
Dyson trying to get in the mind of Nola. They know he can run. Duffy is not going to follow Dyson on a steal, I can tell you that. Blanco, shortstop, he's kind of hanging out near Dyson.
Very shallow left field. Goodell comes up and makes a basket play. That's out number 2. So 2 down with runners at first and second to Whit Merrifield, who hit one off the wall in left field in the first inning. Yes, Dyson at second base, Duffy at first.
Yep, Whitley, 263 average with a runner at second base. First inning, he got a little sinker that didn't sink much. It's right on it.
Two and 0.
Pretty nice mark there with 2 outs. I'm not surprised. Uses the whole field.
That'll be back into the crowd. Another nice crowd here tonight. They have fireworks after the game, as they did last night. A little over 30,000 for game 1 last night. Breaking ball stayed up and in. With Kendrys Morales on deck, I would imagine Whit Merrifield is going to get a hittable pitch here.
You would think he's got to be looking out not to jump him. Now, if it's got a little bit of a wrinkle on it or something, you might want to pull it, but keep that focus up the middle.
Kept it over the outside, 3-2. Here's his mother, Kissy, in the front row, and his dad, Bill, with the blue and white striped polo shirt.
Kissy looks a lot more relaxed than we've seen.
The way he's been playing lately.
Well, right. She can relax. This is Whitley's not going anywhere.
The last time. Now, Bill always seems to be pretty calm. But you're right. When Joel interviewed Kissy during that homestand, she was living and dying with every pitch.
It's good to be able to relax.
Runners take off, and that's lined toward right center field. Whit Merrifield comes through again with a runner in scoring position and 2 down. He drives in Dyson. Duffy goes to third, and the Royals lead 2-1.
And so you can add to that number with 2 outs and runners in scoring position because he uses the middle of the field. Look at that. He wasn't trying to pull it. He's staying in the big part. It really increases your percentages of dropping that ball in. Pick up Alex there. That's a good swing.
How about that? Almost half of the big league games that he's played in, he's had more than 1 hit. So that extends the inning for Kendrys Morales with runners at first and third. And Nola pitched Kendrys very carefully in the first inning and walked him. Oh and 1.
You know, Danny Duffy went first to third on that hit by Whit, and he's such a runner. He loves running, Danny Duffy, and just watching him come down the line on that foul ball, he's excited to be out there. It's fun when a pitcher doesn't get a chance to run the bases, but running the bases is the most fun out of anything out there, if you ask me.
Ooh. Slow breaking ball. No balls, 2 strikes.
That's the one thing I miss the most. You know, you can only play for so long, but you know, running the bases is special. You just got to have a little left hand lean. And you're cutting those edges and cutting the corners.
One and two on Morales.
3 weeks ago, Morales was swinging at that pitch. He's disciplined himself now. They're milking Aaron Nola's pitch count. That risk runners in scoring position stats, you think it might be a little bit lower because of the way he swung the bat earlier this year? No, that's always been a fairly consistent mark for him. And that's his job. Drive him in.
2-2. Breaking ball hit high and deep to right field. Kendrys Morales hits a 3-run home run. Stay hot, Kendrys Morales.
Can't understand why you want to even pitch to him. Put him on. You got 2 outs. They pitched around him the first time. And we pretty much said that, look, they're not going to give him anything to hit here. And now they do. With 2 guys on, a floater saying, hit me. And he does. 13th big fly on the year. Guy's lava hot. You can't give him anything out over the dish like that. Ooh-wee. Five home runs. How about that? An 8-game hitting streak. It's killing it.
Eric Hosmer with 2 down. And you think about the inning. Cuthbert singles, Escobar singles, Dyson's ground ball, very close to being a double play. Danny Duffy gets his first big league hit with a bunt, and Merrifield, without his base hit, Morales never gets to the plate. This is something we discussed on our roundtable on the radio side before the game tonight, hoping that the Royals, even with a small ballpark where you can hit more home runs, would not try to hit home runs. That they would stay with their approach. And they have tonight.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing too is that with Nola's track record, the fact that he's been getting pounded his last 5 starts, the Royals offense needed to do what they're doing right here. Give Duffy a little bit of cushion, and he's able to help himself in the inning.
Hernandez takes care of Hosmer. The Royals send 8 to the plate. Danny Duffy gets his first big league hit, and RBI with that bunt that helped extend the inning. And then Kendrys Morales caps it with a 3-run home run, and the Royals get 5 in the second inning. Danny Duffy pitches with a 4-run lead. Carlos Ruiz leads off the bottom of the second inning. Pops it up to the right side. Hosmer started in and now moves back. The wind is blowing out toward right field. So may have grabbed that pop up on Hosmer. A reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
I wonder if this guy right here will be involved in that highlight. Pretty good chance. He is 1 for 1 with a walk and a 3-run bomb. Like his chances. Of course, this guy number 41 could be in there too, Danny Duffy. So if you look at the overall numbers of the Philadelphia Phillies against southpaws this season, just a .233 average. 9 homers. That average is second to the last in the National League against lefties. And the 9 home runs against southpaws are the fewest. So if you look at the numbers, you think, ooh, you like Duffy's chances. But we'll see. Numbers don't always tell the day-to-day story.
1-2 on Tyler Goodell.
But that pitch there, that breaking ball to righties, that's going to be the key pitch for Duffy to keep him off of that fastball. Changeup's a good one, but you got to show them that little downward breaking ball to the back leg mainly. Keep it down. Puts it in the hitter's mind.
Good breaking ball. That's Duffy's second strikeout, and they're 2 down in the second inning.
That pitch there is called a wipeout breaking ball. That started a foot outside and ended up down in the right leg of the hitter. Beauty.
2 down to Cesar Hernandez. Backhanded Escobar, throws on the run. Hosmer goes up to get it. Phillies are going to delay things for a moment as they want to take another look at it. The timing of the play and whether Hosmer kept his foot on the bag.
Yeah, he's out. That's why Escobar said, man, what are they doing?
In the second inning against Aaron Nola, Kendrys Morales mixed in a 3-run home run. Join the Royals and local business professionals for Business Day at the K on July 20th. The event will feature a pregame presentation by Royals general manager Dayton Moore, as well as networking opportunities, and then a ticket to the game that afternoon with the Royals and the first place Indians. Royals.com/business for more information and to purchase tickets. Salvador Perez came up with 2 down and 2 runners in scoring position in the first inning and popped out to second base, allowing Aaron Nola off the hook. But no such luck in the second inning as the Royals sent 8 to the plate. Danny Duffy drove in a run with a bunt single. Whit Merrifield drove in a run with a single, and then Kendrys Morales hit the 3-run home run. One and two. That is not Chase Utley. I don't care what his jersey says.
Guy was a huge fan favorite here.
Perez is down on strikes, and that's Aaron Nola's second strikeout. Remember, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Royals wherever you go. Chester Cuthbert got that 5-run inning started with a long at bat and a single to center field. He scored on the Danny Duffy bunt. No balls and 2 strikes.
Well, we all know how the Royals score a lot of their runs, and usually they bunch them up and they get that one hit and then they all feed off it, especially in a great at bat like he had. Working the count full, and he got him a cookie.
Now he got a breaking ball and hits it out to Franco at third base. Throw is offline, but Tommy Joseph applies the tag. So 2 down to Alcides Escobar. He extended his hitting streak to 13 games with a base hit off of shortstop Blanco's glove. And now Escobar has raised his batting average by 26 points during his 13-game hitting streak. I asked Ned Yost before the game if he felt that Escobar had turned a corner, and Ned said there was no corner to turn, that he felt like that's just the normal ebb and flow of a major league season before Escobar was struggling, just like Kendrys Morales was struggling and got back on track.
Yeah, you know, he's right in a way, because, you know, very rarely does a hitter stay in the tree the whole season. I mean, you know, it's so difficult, this game. So many elements, so many different pitchers and sequences, mind games, off the field activities. There's just so much that goes on in a guy's life, and you're facing pitchers every single night. It's hard to stay on top of your game. But Escobar, during periods of at least that I've witnessed over the last 5 years, sometimes it's like he's almost bored. You know, he's playing every day, and you never see that defensively. But with the bat in his hand, sometimes he just kind of goes through the motions. You know, when the game gets meaningful, watch out, here he comes. He's one of the few Royals I can see that can flip the switch.
That's Nola's best inning, 3 up, 3 down, with a couple of strikeouts. Independence Hall, 2 days shy of Independence Day. And there you have it. A 5-run top of the second inning, and Danny Duffy pitching with a 5-1 lead. And pitching to Aaron Nola. 1 for 23 at the plate so far this year with 12 strikeouts. One ball, 2 strikes. Phillies got their run in the first. Michael Franco got a base hit off of Danny Duffy's glove, scoring Peter Borges, and then the Royals answered with 5. Duffy picks up his 3rd strikeout. It was a changeup. Boy, if Nola only knew that he was going to get a 1-2 changeup.
Look, wouldn't have helped him.
You don't think so?
He couldn't have hit it with a boat or believe
I'll
that.
bet if he knew that pitch was coming.
He's just a pitcher, but Nola, you got to go.
Cruel, Hud, cruel.
That wasn't very nice of Danny Duffy.
Let's go to the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Joel Goldberg.
That was like 30-something years ago, but a lot of the players on this team, Ryan, have a lot more experience in this area. 13 of the 25 members of the active roster right now for the Royals played minor league ball at some point in Wilmington, Delaware for the Blue Rocks, the high A affiliate of the Royals. Only a 30 minutes drive from here. Most of the hitters will tell you they hated it because it was not a good hitting park, wind blowing in. Danny Duffy, on the other hand, said he absolutely loved it. He told me yesterday. He said it was a graveyard, so it was a great place to pitch. He enjoyed the town. He said, I don't know if I knew where the ball was going all the time, but I enjoyed my time there. How much Danny has grown over the years. That was many years ago now.
2009, 2010. One and one on Herrera. Danny got him on a pop up to Hosmer in the first inning. Easy play for Cuthbert. And then Cuthbert throws the ball into center field. So Herrera needs to spend a little time with Danny Duffy on his bunting.
I think so. He tried to do the same thing, take a page out, didn't he? And for Cuthbert to throw that ball away into center field, that's good practice. Get it out of your system now when the ball's not in play. No, didn't mean to do it.
Two down to Peter Borges. Borges tripled into left center field in the first inning. He hit it on the right side where the wall angles inward.
Yeah, short, compact swing. Uh-oh.
That's going to be a tough play, even if Hosmer fields that ball cleanly. Easier play for Merrifield?
Oh, without a doubt.
I'm going to call that a base hit. And now Haas and Merrifield talk it over. Well, maybe not. You know, Witt was more toward the middle than in his normal spot.
On a slow hit ball, Merrifield needs to tell Haas before a hitter comes into the box, and he's a left-handed hitter or right-handed hitter. Anything slowly hit to my left, I got it. So you put it in Haas's mind. That's how you do it. And then he knows. And, you know, he was playing him to pull for sure, but that was a slow hit ball. Witt's got good range. He got to it with no problem. Haas goes to the base, and they're out of the inning.
I don't know. I think with Borges' speed, I think that's a hit.
Could have been.
Even if they had communicated the way you described.
Okay.
Andres Blanco batting third, by the way. Now, he's the only Phillies hitter who had faced Danny Duffy before tonight, and he's 3 for 6 against Duffy. Quick trivia question for you here, Hud.
Okay.
Don't think too hard, okay?
You know I never do.
Who is the youngest position player to debut with the Royals? Don't think too hard.
Yeah. How about, since you're following Al Broughton, he always makes the questions pertain to somebody who's on the field. I'm going to say number 4 in the batter's box right here.
Andres Blanco was 20 years old back in 2004.
All right.
And by months, got to the big leagues earlier than Clint Hurdle, who was also 20 years old in 1977. Brett Saberhagen is the youngest to make a debut in Royals history at the age of 19 in 1984. And the very next year, he was a World Series champion.
Wow. How about that? Pretty impressive.
Two and two. It's interesting talking with him during batting practice today, and I mentioned earlier how he gave Salvador Perez advice very early in Salvi's career. And as Blanco put it, advice I wish I had taken myself when I was a young player in the major leagues. You know, in his defense, though, he was very young, didn't know the language other than the basics, learning a new culture. Down on strikes, and now he's a veteran, helping other young Latin players adjust to the major league life. Andy Duffy's given up 1 run in 3 innings. In the second inning against Aaron Nola, who had really been struggling before this game even started in his previous 4, as we bring in Jeff Montgomery. If Nola can get through the 4th inning here, this will be the first time in 5 starts he's gotten through the 4th inning. What have you seen tonight?
Well, a young player that has had his ups and downs, but a guy that the Phillies have obviously high hopes for. And I guess I'll maybe, there we go, a nice 1 pitch out, I guess,
That'll
for
help
Nola. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, you know, young pitcher they have a lot of high hopes for. A guy that is going to have his ups and downs as he gets kind of established in the big leagues. But a command guy. He's a guy that has to be on the mark in order to be successful. And, you know, at times we've seen that tonight, but go back a couple innings and they sure didn't have it that inning.
In each of his last 4 starts, Nola has not gone a full 4 innings. Danny Duffy, how about that rip? After getting his first big league hit last time up with a bunt.
Bonnie, what was your first big league hit like?
I didn't get any hits.
Oh, I thought you got you
He'll tell you all about it as soon as he gets it.
Oh, come on. I thought for sure you had a knock.
0 for 2.
Oh, okay. Well, look, you didn't get that many at-bats then.
Was that with the Reds?
Yeah, it's with the Reds. My only start in my career. If I had any wheels, I'd be a 500 hitter.
You hit a little topper?
A bunt.
Oh, you bunted.
Tried to do the Danny Duffy special.
Nola strikes him out with a fastball. That's 4 for Nola.
Guess you could ask me how many strikeouts I had in my career from the mound. None.
None.
Never threw a pitch.
Speaking of, however, our University of Kansas hospital injury report, Ryan Goins, who had an impressive, 18th inning yesterday. He goes on the disabled list today with right forearm tightness. That's the biggest fear when a manager puts a position player on the mound. There are 3 words. There are 3 words that a manager says to a position player when he takes a mound. What are those 3 words, guys?
Don't get hurt.
Don't get hurt.
I've heard some other ones, but I can't use those. But you're right, and Monty, I'm kind of glad that they never wanted me to go out there and pitch. But I was always one of those guys, that had that opportunity, but fortunately never did. Jose Canseco, he wanted to pitch, always wanted to, and he ended up on the disabled list after
He
he
had a
pitched.
Tommy John surgery.
Yeah. Blew his arm out. It's not easy. And by the way, the Blue Jays used 6 more pitchers today. So wear them down before we get to them.
Whatever roster that they had before the game last night is going to be completely different by the time we get there on Monday.
I think that's a good thing.
One and 2 on Alex. He is struck out and flied to left against Aaron Nola. There's the Royals' emergency pitcher. Drew Butera has done it 4 times in his career.
Well, he throws a lot, too. I watch him, in between his starts. He's always out on the field, especially at home. Working with Pedro Gafal, throwing down to second base. See that short arm he's got, Money? He throws just like a catcher. That little whip right behind his ear. Not a lot of stress.
He's used to that 60 feet 6 inches, just the other direction.
Right.
Two and 2 on Alex.
I remember once in my first year in the major leagues, Paul O'Neill, a right fielder for the Reds, was called in to pitch, and he could throw hard. And he pitched an inning or 2 in the game, and for another year, he told me his arm hurt him for another year after he pitched in that game.
Don't get hurt.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, Aaron Nola's retired 7 in a row with 4 strikeouts. Second inning for the Royals. The biggest hit was a Kendrys Morales 3-run home run. Danny Duffy And Whit Merrifield also chipped in with RBIs. For Duffy, it was his first big league hit and RBI. And Duffy on the mound has allowed just 1 run in 3 innings.
Is that fan of World Travelers? I couldn't catch his sign.
You gotta hold the sign up longer.
Yeah. Destination something. Maybe he's been to almost all the ballparks. Wonder how many of these Royal fans that are here today are going to follow us up to Toronto.
17.
That's a big border to cross. Better bring your passport.
Monty, I think you and Joel need to do a pregame segment, like a seminar for fans on when to hold your sign up and how long to hold it up, because that fellow, we tried to put him on, he just didn't hold it up long enough.
Joel actually gave a set of twins, I believe they were, after the pregame show. They had their sign. He told them, hold it up during the break, because you have a much better chance of our camera crew getting them during the break, because they're not following the action.
Right. Mike Franco got an infield hit off of Duffy's glove in the first inning to drive in the Phillies run. And he takes advantage of a wide open right side of the infield. And he's on to begin the 4th inning. All right, time for our sprint trivia question. Name the last 3 National Leaguers to win MVP and a World Series in the same season. Is one of them in the house?
Yeah, he's in the next booth right over
Okay.
next to us.
Who I think joined our broadcast in this very booth 3 years ago. We had 2 of the greatest third basemen in the history of the game on our broadcast.
Might have been the greatest opportunity for me in my entire broadcasting career to sit here and listen to these guys and put a sock in my mouth and let these guys talk about the game and battling. It was beautiful.
Morales and Dyson. Dyson takes charge, as he should. So Tommy Joseph is 0 for 2, and Franco's back to first base. We're talking about Mike Schmidt. What did Harry Callis used to call him?
Michael Jack.
There he is, the Harry Callis broadcast booth. That's. Here's Mike Schmidt's retired number 20, and we're talking about having Mike Schmidt and George Brett during a broadcast here 3 years ago. All right, so I think Mike Schmidt is one of those National Leaguers.
Yep.
Michael, Jack, Schmidt.
And 2 others?
2 others. Ruiz was nicked with that pitch. 2 on with 1 out. What about Scott Rowland? Did Scott Rowland win MVP when the Cardinals won it in 06?
Well, sometimes we're in the ballpark. How about Jimmy Rollins? Did he win it when they won it here?
Third baseman.
Oh, third baseman.
Third baseman.
Okay.
I don't even know why they're doing that to us. It's not even. Oh, any National Leaguer. Oh, I'm sorry. Any National Leaguer. Okay. My bad. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Show it again. Name the last 3 National League third basemen to MVP and a World Series. Tyler Goodell struck out on a Duffy breaking ball in the 2nd inning.
For you fans at home that know the answer, I'm going to give you Jeff Montgomery's cell phone, and you can text him the answer. Just kidding. Monty, I wouldn't do that to you.
No problems.
How about Buster Posey in 2012? Are we going to go with that one?
I think you should.
Are we going with Schmidt too?
Yes.
Okay, so we have Schmidt and Posey. Albert Pujols.
Don't go with that
2006, 2011.
Yeah, don't go with that. I think Freeze got one of those.
He got 2011, right?
I think so. No, I don't think Freeze won a league MVP.
No, but he was World Series MVP.
He was.
In 2011. And I think he was also NLCS MVP.
Some kind of hot.
How about that for a local kid? You're from the city where you win AL, NLCS, and World Series MVP. Morales makes a play. Franco tags. He'll advance to third. And runners at the corners with 2 down. How about I got one for you?
Okay.
I think I got it.
We got plenty of time to get it in.
Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Faith and Family Day brought to you by Hobby Lobby is coming up next Saturday. The event will feature a concert after the game by Casting Crowns and a message from select Royals players and executives, as well as Scott Dawson of Safe at Home. And remember, your ticket to the game includes the post-game event, and you can purchase those tickets at royals.com/faith.
All right, who do you got?
Kirk Gibson, 1988.
I can tell you were convicted with that name, so we'll go ahead and write that one down.
Because he did it for the Dodgers my senior year in high school. Cesar Hernandez grounded out to short first time up. And Escobar backhands, play at second base, and they got him. That's a big play, not just to save a run, but the pitcher was coming up next, so Duffy did not want to give Hernandez anything good to hit.
That's one of the reasons he wears the gold. Look at that play. Transfer from glove to hand. Perfectly done.
Extended his hitting streak to 13 games, and in the field, he just saved a run.
He's so quick with his feet. Watch the transfer. He's in his glove, but he's got to get it out of his hand, or the glove, and get to the hand, and throwing downhill. Talk about downhill angle. That's what you want to do. He stays on top. If he drops his arm angle down to the side. The ball sails away. Great play. Talking with Larry Bowa before the game, longtime Philadelphia Philly shortstop. He played 12 years for them. He played 2,222 games at short. And before the game, Larry Bowa says, "I like Escobar."
Did he say it like that?
He did.
Okay.
I like this guy. And I go,
he kind of sounds like Jim Leland.
well, look, he told me he likes his attention to detail on defense. Says he's got quick feet and he's got a tremendous arm.
So how did he say it again? I just want to compare. How does Larry Bowa say Escobar?
I love that Escobar guy.
Okay, and what did Jim Leland used to ask you about Duffy?
How's Duffy doing?
Okay, so a little bit different. Similar, but a little bit
Yeah,
different.
well, Bowa doesn't smoke.
Okay. Blanco throws at Whit Merrifield. Whit is out for the first time tonight. He's 2 for 3. There's Larry Bowa. And we'll answer our sprint trivia question. There they are. Buster Posey, Kirk Gibson, and Mike Schmidt. And if you go the last 4 in 1979, Willie Stargell.
How about
with
that?
The We Are Family Pirates. Kendrys Morales hit a 3-run home run in the second inning. The Royals scored all 5 in the second inning. That was after he walked in the first. Good movement. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I don't know what they were thinking, but he'll take it. 2-2 hanging breaking ball. Bonnie, he has a little, Nola has a little bit of running action. He doesn't have sinking action. It runs straight across the zone.
He gets on the side of the ball a little bit. He gets on top just a little bit more. He's going to get a lot more sink on that, but I think he's trying to create some deception at the left-handed batter, throw it kind of at his leg and let it move back through the plate. Trying to take a page out of Greg Maddox's book on that pitch that has that life that starts out at the left-hander and goes back over the plate.
So if you're Bob McClure, how are you going to break this kid down, Nola, and make him better?
Well, I think his whole key is command. If he's able to command his pitches and get ahead of hitters, I think that's the biggest key for young pitchers, getting ahead of hitters. And I think if I look at Nola, I think of Danny Duffy, say 3 or 4 years ago, he'll have those games where, like the second inning here for Nola, gives up 5 runs. But he may be clean 4 or 5 innings other than that. You just have to eliminate the damage in the big innings and suddenly become a more bona fide big league pitcher. And that's just a process really that every player goes through, but particularly pitchers.
Well, to your point, Monty, he had a scoreless first inning, 5 in the second, and now he has set down 10 in a row. So how do you avoid that 5 in the second inning? How does 5 become 2, right?
Keep going out there. The more times you do it, the better you get at controlling damage, eliminating those big innings. And it just comes with repetition. Just continue to do it. But he has the stuff. There's obviously his stuff is there. And when you're a command guy, you have to stay within your game, understand what makes you click. And at some point, it starts to click in your own brain. And then you can really kind of almost manipulate that. But he has really great ability to command both sides of the plate, and that's a real nice starting point for a pitcher trying to get established as a bona fide big league guy.
Two and one on Hosmer. He's gotten Hosmer to ground out twice. Once back to the mound and the other to second base. Doesn't give in on 2 and 1.
Joel had a nice segment with Duffy yesterday, congratulating him on his Player of the Month award. And I made a comment to Ryan after we heard the interview of, man, Duffy, he's so different. He's confident. You could tell he's calm. He's very under control with his interviews now. And I would say the same thing about him on the mound, Monty. And the biggest word I can think of for him is poise.
Right, I agree. He's really matured over the last couple of seasons, particularly.
Here are the numbers for June Pitcher of the Month. And the strikeouts, 45 strikeouts in 36 innings. He's the first pitcher to have that many strikeouts in 1 month since Zach Greinke in 2009, and just the third, or make that the second lefty in Royals history to have that many strikeouts in 1 month, joining Danny Jackson. 10 straight retired by Aaron Nola. A 5-run second inning for the Royals. Duffy, Merrifield driving in runs. Kendrys Morales 3 with a home run. And they had one opportunity to get a big inning against Aaron Nola, who is now gone, as Freddie Galvis is going to bat for him, because Nola, after the Kendrys Morales home run, went on to retire the next 10 Royals with 6 strikeouts. Galvis takes outside. He was the starting shortstop last night and was 0 for 4. One ball and 1 strike.
Guys, kind of a small point, but Hud, a little bit to your comment about the poise for Danny Duffy. If you go back to his last start against the Cardinals, 2-run home run in the first inning. Cruise from there on out. Today, gives up the run in the first inning. He's cruised from there on out. And I think that's just a sign of maturity, and he's now got that poise on the mound, and he can stay away from those outings where it gets to be really disastrous after a poor start.
Yeah, I was telling Hud that after that start against the Cardinals, I was driving home and listening to some of the post-game interviews from the clubhouse on the radio, and Danny Duffy was talking about his start, and he was asked 2 or 3 different times about settling down after that Matt Holliday home run. So Galvis is down on strikes, and I thought Danny's response to it showed a lot of how far he's come when he said, I never felt like I had to settle down. Or I think maybe in the past he would have said, yeah, I had to catch my breath, I had to remind myself it's just a couple of runs, but you could just hear in the tone of his voice that you know, I don't think it was a silly question because, you know, that's a label that he's going to have to get rid of. But just the tone of his voice, it was like, nah, I never felt like I had to settle down.
Right. He's very confident and poised and just doesn't let things rattle him the way that he used to.
Ball 1 to Herrera. He is 0 for 2 so far. Right to Merrifield. So good strategy to keep the Phillies down is to keep Herrera off the bases. And he is 0 for 3. Our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. Johnny Cueto is 12-1 in his first year with the Giants. The Giants rallied late and came back and beat Arizona. Cueto gives up 4 runs, no walks in 7 innings with 9 strikeouts. San Francisco Giants have 51 wins, or 20 games over 500. They have a 6-game lead over the Dodgers.
And going through a rash of injuries themselves. Kind of reminding me of the Cardinals last year. Still keeping their head above water because of some of the depth they have in the minor leagues and other bench players, guys stepping up.
Ooh. Danny Duffy will take that. Borges asked Dan Bellino about the location of this pitch.
Shave that corner.
Throw it there again.
Cuthbert charges, throws, safe. And Eric Hosmer points to the Royals dugout and says, take another look.
Borges, you got to love that hustle. Ryan, we saw the previous at bat where he made Hosmer range way to his right to try to catch that. And you know, Merrifield was playing him to pull, and I believe that you might have been correct. The way this guy runs, I don't think that they could have gotten him had Hosmer went to the base and let Merrifield go over there. But that's the pressure you put on defenses. Good hustle. He can control that. He makes it happen by running hard.
He's a great fit for this young Phillies team. The guy's got some experience in the way you play the baseball game, the right way, play it hard, and sure they appreciate his effort.
Yeah, they're wasting the umpire's time here.
They just showed it up on the stadium video board, and there wasn't one reaction. And he is out. Called by the second base umpire and crew chief Tom Hallion. 3 up, 3 down for the Phillies against Danny Duffy in the bottom of the 5th inning. Out. Is brought to you by Chevy. Visit your local Kansas City area Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. By Panera Bread, food as it should be with 24 KC Metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low prices every day. Five-1 Royals. All of that against Aaron Nola in the second inning. And now Nola is out. Severino Gonzalez will face Salvador Perez, Chesler Cuthbert, and Alcides Escobar. Salvi is after the first pitch. He is 0 for 2 so far tonight. No balls, 2 strikes. Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Joe Mosley from Gladstone. And if the Royals hit a home run out of the park in this inning, Joe wins $1,300. However, if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Joe wins $25 grand from Sonic and the Royals.
Nice head position there by Salvi. He was watching that all the way to the bat. He's got his pinky finger over the knob, and a lot of hitters do that because see his left hand that is wrapping over. Makes him feel better. It's leverage. He gains leverage by holding that pinky finger over. I never could do it, but some guys do. Gonzalez showing his slider. Fastball, slider, changeup.
There's Mike Schmidt with former Royal Matt Stairs. And I believe prior to Lorenzo Cain's Sonic Slam, I think Lorenzo was the last Royal to win 25 grand. I think Matt Stairs was the one before that who had a $25,000 home run.
That goes back over a decade.
It does.
That's a long time.
Oh, we had a lot of fun talking with him, didn't he, before the game tonight? Matt Stairs came in our booth.
He's a blast.
Yeah.
Matt Stairs, what a fun guy. I can't believe all the stories he was telling you guys of the Royals days. And he said he played, what, 2.5 years for the Royals?
Yeah.
Oh, those stories were hysterical.
He played for 13 major league teams.
I can't believe that. And that's not including Japan. 14 if you include Japan, and you have to include that year.
Holtze looked it up. Stairs' Sonic Slam was 12 years ago at Cleveland. 2-2 on Cuthbert. Cuthbert singled leading off that 5-run second inning and scored on Danny Duffy's bunt. Danny Duffy got his first hit and first RBI. A 2-hit game for Cuthbert.
Very little Cuthbert's doing wrong. Talking with Dale before the game, Monty. I was going through a bunch of the hitters, and I got to Cuthbert, and he says, don't change a thing. He's right there. He's right where he wants to be.
Well, I like the way his head position just stays very, very soft. He doesn't move his head hardly at all.
And you know, you hear us talking about that now. Is it similar to a pitcher too? Now, sure, you have to stride out and everything, but your head, the body follows the head. If your head pulls off, so are your arms as a hitter when you're swinging. And as a pitcher, to talk to you about the importance of the head.
Well, you have to stay on line, and that head is really kind of what's going to keep you on line. I think for a hitter, it's even more dramatic. If your head is moving and the ball is moving, it's two moving parts at one time. For a pitcher, you want to see that. And if I see a guy in the on-deck circle, I see a guy taking swings where he's moving a lot, lunging, so to speak, forward, I know that I got a good chance of him not making good contact, especially if I can maybe have something finish off the plate. He doesn't recognize where the pitch is going to be. Good hitters, though, sometimes you can see a good hitter will lunge and you know that he catches what he did wrong. He corrects his mistake. The next pitch, he may stay more in line and the head moves much less the next time. So good hitters find the ability to make that adjustment really in the middle of an at-bat.
Can you think of a guy that you face, Monty, where, more than once you fooled him badly with one pitch, and then by the next pitch he was locked back in again?
Paul Molitor. He didn't make a lot of mistakes, but you could tell if you might get him to swing and miss on a pitch, and then you throw the same pitch. And the thing that was so amazing about Molitor, he didn't hardly have any movement in his swing. He was just so compact.
He never took a step.
Didn't take a stride, but at times he would pull off the ball a little bit, and then the next pitch he throws the same pitch away, and he shoots it down the right field line.
They say the average major league player can make adjustments from game to game. The good ones make adjustments from at bat to at bat, and the great ones make adjustments from pitch to pitch.
He was a great one.
That'll be an easy double play as Gonzalez handles a line drive from Escobar. So Gonzalez faces only 3. To the bottom of the 6th, the Royals lead by 4. Royals 5-run second inning. Don't forget to vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com, and by registering you can win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Andres Blanco has grounded out to third and struck out. And now breaking ball, no balls, 2 strikes. Danny Duffy has allowed 1 run in 5 innings with just 65 pitches, Mike.
That number really stands out to me. The efficiency for Danny Duffy here the last few starts has really been nice. And I think when you can describe Danny's outings as efficient, they're also very good.
That's efficient. 3 pitches and a strikeout of Blanco. That's the second time he has struck out Blanco, and that gives Duffy 6 strikeouts tonight.
Blanco.
Whoa.
You got to go.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah, good to see Ben Franklin in the house.
He's here.
We say pin to win. They say Ben to win. Guys, another thing with Duffy, his ability to recognize the pitches that he has working for him. I think that's another advancement he's really made this year. Ryan, you said you were hearing his comments after the game, again in his start against the Cardinals. Heard him talking about he didn't have his changeup, so he had to use his slider more. He had to use his slider more often. Didn't really have that changeup, but the ability to recognize what pitch is going to work for you is going to be the difference in having a good game and maybe not having a good game. And he's doing a nice job of that.
Well, we know all about the fastball, and he can pile up the strikeouts with that fastball. But tonight, he has struck out 6, and all 6 have been on pitches other than his fastball. That ball might come back. You see that foul ball yesterday?
Off the cup? Off the cup of the bat?
No. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The ball was about 5 or 6 feet foul. I think it was in Washington, wasn't it? I know Ryan Zimmerman.
Look at the spin on that
first
ball.
baseman. Look at that thing almost rolled back into fair territory.
Yeah, now that's what that ball's doing sometimes when it comes out there to the infielder. I remember seeing a ball like that coming to me and I'm going, oh yeah, routine. The minute it hit any leather, its spin would hit and take off and I'd miss it. Routine, you'd think it'd be an easy play. But you saw the rotation right there. It's the one you gotta really open up your glove and let it in there.
Great location, 1-2 on Tommy Joseph. Changeup is in the dirt, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The majority of Danny Duffy's misses tonight have been off the plate. Another difference for Danny when he's on. Some pitchers they won't be wild where they're walking guys, but they're not commanding the baseball to the parts of the plate they want. As a result, their misses oftentimes are in the middle or the hittable part of the plate. Danny's missing off the plate.
Back to Danny. Just 73 pitches in 6 innings. He's allowed 1 run and none since the first inning. The 7th inning. The Royals in Fox Sports Kansas City are offering a unique way for fans across the Midwest to enjoy a game at Kauffman Stadium. The Forever Royal Fan Express. The next stop is in Springfield. on July 9th. Fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to Kauffman Stadium. Just go to Royals.com/FanExpress for more information. Jimmy Paredes takes over at second base. Cesar Hernandez was at second base. He is now at short. So Andres Blanco is out. No, he's not. Andres Blanco goes to first base. So Tommy Joseph, who made the last out of the bottom of the 6th inning, is out. And the new pitcher is Adam Morgan. He'll get Dyson, Duffy, and Gordon. 3 left-hand batters. Very shallow center field, and Herrera takes charge. Dyson is 0 for 3 tonight. He has scored a run. And now Danny Duffy, who had a bunt single in the 2nd inning and drove in a run, and then came around to score in the Royals' 5-run second.
He'll never forget that as long as he lives. He'll tell that story. He'll even show the ball to his kids. Look at that. Perfect technique, he's going to tell them. I had it planned the whole way. That little backspin on it. When that ball hit the ground, it just kind of plugged. You couldn't lob a throw out there any better than that. Choking up on the bat even. He wants to get another hit. Multi-hit game. Why not? Lefty on lefty. 2-0. That was your pitch, Denny. And Ben Franklin, he's so impressed he wants to go down a little bit closer to get a bird's eye view on Duffy.
Three balls, 1 strike.
Morgan's got all 4 pitches. Fastball, curve, slider, change. 90-93. I bet he gets another one of those. Right down the middle.
Good swing. Goodell makes a play in left field. Danny, good inside out swing. 2 down. Mizzou fans. It's Mizzou night at Kauffman Stadium on July 22nd. The first 5,000 fans who bring their Mizzou theme night ticket through Gate A will receive a special edition gray, black, and gold branded KC cap, which includes the Mizzou logo, courtesy of Fox Sports Kansas City and Rally House. Morgan misses high to Alex Gordon. Alex is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Those at bats were against Philly starter Aaron Nola. 1-1. Franco, long run, and it's back into the 6th row. Royals have just 1 hit since that 5-run 2nd inning. Able to check his swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I'd really like to see Alex get hot. Get a few of those base hits, get him right, then jump ship, hit one out of the ballpark. He already has 5 home runs.
That was such an impressive foul ball off to the first base side that they set the fireworks off.
Maybe that was a slip. I don't know. They had a big fireworks show last night, and they're going to have another one tonight.
Remember the poor guy in Cleveland last year?
How can we forget?
When Alex Rios hit that home run and he wasn't paying attention, and he just heard the ball sail out of saw the ball sail out of the ballpark and heard the ovation because all the Royals fans were there.
Right.
And he set off the fireworks.
Got him reprimanded.
Alex comes back after being down in the count. And that right there is the reason why Ned Yost put Alex in the leadoff spot. As Ned put it, when Alex isn't swinging the bat well, he's still getting on base. That's a second walk allowed by a Phillies pitcher tonight. Danny Duffy hasn't walked anybody. Now a wild throw. And Alex is going to make the turn. Paredes, good throw across the diamond, but Alex is in there. That's the second time on this trip that a pitcher has been, let's say, overzealous in trying to pick off Alex Gordon. And the result has been an error.
And Andres Blanco fell on top of him as he's went after it.
That's one way to slow him down, right?
Yeah, you'd think. Now, I thought he'd be happy to stay at second base. He took 2 looks. Didn't need to look at Jershely. Come on, Paredes unloaded a heck of a throw, like you said. If he puts that down by the base, it would have been close. Merrifield hitting .378 off of lefties.
Takes a look at a strike. Another 2-hit Witt night. He doubled in the first inning, singled, drove in a run, and scored in the Royals' 5-run second. One ball and 1 strike. Merrifield has now played in 39 games in the big leagues. In 17 of the 39 games, he's had more than 1 hit. 2-1 with Morales on deck.
Yeah, you know, he has good awareness and good plate discipline. He's out there just swinging.
Three and 1. So I said it in the second inning. I'll say it again in the 7th. Merrifield should get a decent pitch to hit with Morales on deck. Should. Well, he caught the corner. Maybe not a great pitch to hit.
That's respect. 3-1 changeup.
I asked Holtzy to look it up. Ian Kinsler led the league last year with 61 multi-hit games. So that's far from about half of his games. Merrifield right now is about half of his games have been multi-hit. And he wishes he could have that back. That was ball 4 with Morales on deck. So Gordon is stranded at third. Stretch time in Philadelphia. The Royals lead 5-1. Royals, bottom of the 7th inning. Danny Duffy has allowed 1 run, 4 hits. And there's a base hit for Ruiz leading off the 7th inning. Nicknamed Chooch, and they chant his name. He is 1 for 2. Grab your running shoes and join Fox Sports Kansas City and the Royals at the Royals Charities 5K on August 27th. Each participant will receive a World Series Champs t-shirt and a Royals ticket voucher. And you'll also have a chance to take a lap around Kauffman Stadium. Sign up now at royals.com/run. Now Tyler Goodell, and Duffy's in there with a fastball at 94. Goodell has struck out, flied out to right field. Duffy has struck out 6 Phillies tonight. Just 75 pitches in 6+ innings. Phillies scored first. They got a 1-out triple from Borges back in the 1st inning, and then Franco got him home with an infield single. Goodell right on a fastball, fouls it back. One and 2 on Goodell. All 6 of Duffy's strikeouts tonight have been with either a changeup or a breaking ball.
He's got a nice breaker working.
You know, his fastball, just watching the radar gun, he's been very effective tonight, but his fastball's been mostly 93, 94. There's a breaking ball, strike 3 called, so make it 7 strikeouts with either his changeup or his breaking ball. So 1 out, and let's check in with Joel.
All right, Ryan, thanks. Things going well here in Philly. Around the rest of the league, Panera shows us the action. Cleveland, finally, they lose a game. Minnesota, football-like score there. Detroit over Tampa, and Chicago won better than Houston. So the Cleveland Indians finally losing a game. And we'll take a look now at the Detroit Tigers, who are playing good baseball. Our Terminia Mazda game break Ian Kinsler go-ahead homer in the 5th inning. The Tigers beat Tampa. They have now won 5 games in a row. Here in Philadelphia, a lot of legends like Mike Schmidt and Larry Bowa, and I too had a chance, Rex, to talk to Larry Bowa today.
Hernandez gets the bunt down. And the Phillies will have 2 on with 1 out.
So talking to Larry Bowa, and you know, I like to do this from time to time, I said, you got any HUD stories? Of course you got HUD stories. And he said, well, actually, I remember when HUD came over here, he said he was a spring training instructor, and Rex was really worried about taking the number 14 because that was Pete Rose's number. And Larry Bowa said, I remember a player saying, what is that guy going to do wearing Pete Rose's number? He's no Pete Rose. And Larry Bowa said, he may not have the same ability as Pete Rose, but he plays with the same type of aggressiveness and energy. Loved the way HUD played the game because of that all-out energy. And he said he really likes the way the Royals play the game right now, too, because he sees that same energy, that same old-school style of baseball in the last couple of years from what he saw during his playing days with his Phillies.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Come on.
He loves you.
He said most of that.
Joe,
Yeah.
Joe, that makes me feel special.
I know. I was hoping for something a little bit more mean-spirited or something to get after you a little bit, but it was actually very nice. And only one person's worn 14 since HUD did, Gary Bennett. So maybe you were really the last big one to wear it.
That's what I heard. I heard that they had a Phillies old-timers game here, and that Pete Rose asked if he could wear Rex Hudler's number.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now it's getting deep.
Did
I'm
the
gonna pull my pant legs up here. It's getting deep up here.
Hey, did the fans ever boo you here?
Oh, man, I got a good mixture. But I can tell you, I felt the teeth of this crowd. 67,000 people on opening day in 1997. I was their free agent signing, one of their big guys that they signed. And first hit I got in the Phillies uniform was a little bleeder over the shortstop's head, and I came out of the box and blew my hamstring. And I was at second base, and they had to stop the game when I came off the field, and they let me have it. I'd never been booed by a volume of people like that before in my own home ballpark. 67,000. They let me have it. And I left the field. I went up underneath in the trainer's room and hid under the sink where the cockroaches were, and I stayed under the sink for 30 minutes till the trainer said, hey, HUD, come out of there, man. We got to get some ice on that thing. I was so humbled and humiliated by just the sound of that. It was incredible.
Escobar didn't quite get it out of his glove as quickly as he wanted to. Not sure that was a double play ground ball, but the Royals do get Hernandez at second base, and they're 2 down. So you went into the clubhouse with a bad hamstring, and you crawled under a sink?
Underneath the sink in the trainer's room. I'll never forget. That was Old Veteran Stadium, and look, there's some cockroaches in there. They were a little startled. They went scattering when I went under there, but that's where I had to hide. I hid under there because I was at a low point in my career, at the end of my career, that I was so embarrassed. I wanted to do so well for my new team, and my first hit I got in that uniform. And by the way, when Pete Rose told me I could wear the uniform, when I called him on the phone, he told me, he said, oh, by the way, there ain't a lot of hits left in that jersey. He was right. But then the fans brought me back, Rhino. Just a few days later, I started getting fan mail from people because Jennifer and I had just had our special needs son, Cade, 19 years ago. And so we shared in an article in the Inquirer. And so I started
Philadelphia Inquirer,
and I started getting mail from fans that encouraged me.
Line to Escobar.
So the long story is, in my little year and a half here, I love the Phillies crowd. They loved on me.
And you love the food.
Oh, the food was off the charts.
Danny Duffy. He's allowed 1 run in 7 innings. He still hasn't thrown 90 pitches yet. And as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
I had a feeling that Duffy could be our highlight for sure. Are you kidding? The way he's going out there working those secondary pitches in, all set up with the basketball. There's the changeup. 7 strikeouts in all. Not 1 walk. Fantastic job by Danny Duffy. Great poise, excellent control, and got himself his first big league knock.
Second inning for the lefty Adam Morgan. And he misses with a changeup outside to Kendrys Morales. Morgan threw a slider to strike out Merrifield to end the top of the 7th inning with Morales on deck. That is high and deep to left field. Goodell is at the track. He's at the wall, and Kendrys Morales has a 2-home run game. And he hit that ball into the wind. The wind is shifted. It is now blowing in from left.
Well, Morales found out that we were giving Duffy all the love on the Miller Lite highlight reel, and he says, wait a minute, I'm not done tonight. That ball was hit high and far. I mean, look at this ball go straight up. And Morales is, he knows he hit it pretty well, but he got up underneath it with that wind blowing in. We weren't sure if it was going to reach the seats. Stay hot.
Home runs from both sides of the plate. It's the 16th time in his career he's had more than 1 home run. He had a 3-run home run as a left-hand batter back in the 2nd inning. Hosmer rolls it up the first base side, foul.
I'll just go to show you. It's not how you start the season. It's how you finish, and you know we're a long way from the finish line. This guy has heated up, and now he's taken sole possession of the home run lead of the Royals. 13th and 14th homers.
Up the middle, base hit for Eric Hosmer. That's his first hit of the night.
Let's take a look at Morales here. Now he's got a little load. See the load with the lower half there? Good head position. The head position's right there. You know, you love the whole thing of that, man. Look, it's just incredible to see how hot he is and how well he's seeing the ball. Feel Cuzzy, getting a good eye of it.
Our AT&T high-speed replay.
I got a text from George Brett the other day that said Morales is lava hot. And you know what my text back to George was? You had a whole career of lava hot. How do you do that? Crickets, nothing. I got nothing from it after that. More hits than any third baseman in the world. The history of the world. Did I say that? There it is. Get on the backside of that.
You mean
heater.
like back to BC times?
I mean,
history
like,
of the world?
Exactly.
Okay. A lot of foul territory. Blanco didn't read it very well. And Philadelphia is not very happy about it.
Well, that's a tough one. And you know, Blanco, he's not used to playing first base. And that's a tough angle for him. That's got to be Paredes' ball.
But Paredes is playing up the middle.
Yeah, so really, it's no man's land.
That's a long run for the second baseman from there.
It is.
And Salvi is down on strikes. Tough night for Salvi, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. That's the second for Adam Morgan. Bringing up Chester Cuthbert, who has 2 more hits. He started the 5-run rally in the second inning with a single and also singled in the 6th. High strike, 1-1. Broke his bat. Blanco will play it to second. Pitcher covering, and the Phillies turn a double play. Toughest double play to turn. A 3-6-1 double play. With his biggest lead of the night, and the Royals need just 6 outs on defense to even this series with the Phillies. He'll get a defensive upgrade as Paulo Orlando takes over in right field. Kendrys Morales has done his job tonight, to say the least.
Yeah, I'll say again, working right field, getting his 3 at-bats, some games been 4, is very valuable for the Royals. And Ned Yost looking like a genius. From the left side of the plate, I couldn't believe that they threw him there. I mean, you know, he's hot. They just gave him a little breaking ball cookie, hits it off the scoreboard, and just now, he takes the lefty knee. Second time in his career, he's hit home runs from both sides of the plate.
Had a play again, still 0-2 on Borges. He tripled and scored the Phillies run back in the first inning. The Phillies, for 1/2 inning, had a 1-0 lead, but they haven't scored since the first. And Danny Duffy is trying to make it 2 consecutive starts where he allows runs in the first inning and then none over the next 7. Well hit into right center field, but playable for Paulo Orlando. A lot of Royals fans here in Philadelphia, and the next time you want to grab Royals seats, home or away, just get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by best value. They'll take the price and location of seats and show you which tickets at StubHub give you the best deal. So get the StubHub app today.
Doesn't matter where we go anymore. There's Royals fans walking the streets.
Blanco hits it hard to center field, but Dyson is there. Blanco is 0 for 4. So Danny Duffy, in the first 88 starts of his major league career, pitched 8 innings, one time in his first 88 starts, and now he's about to do it in back-to-back starts.
Oh, man. What a breath of fresh air for that rotation in Dave Island.
And that first 8-inning start was last year at Chicago. He allowed 1 walk in that game, but now in his last 2, he's gone 15 2/3 innings and no walks.
Go ahead.
Make
Danny
that
Duffy.
16 innings in his last 2 starts. No walks and only 3 runs.
Duffy's tough.
Presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler with Joe Goldberg and Jeff Montgomery. Phillies won last night 4-3. And tonight, the Royals have a 5-run lead as they come up in the top of the 9th inning. Eva, I imagine those, or Eva, maybe gave her some tickets to a game here in Philly.
Not so sure. She was grooving to the Bee Gees, though.
Yeah, Night Fever.
Royals getting their groove on tonight is exactly what Ned Yost was hoping for. So it could come down tomorrow and battle for that series victory.
Danny Duffy
with a
gonna go for his first complete game
with a helmet on. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So happy for him. You know what
Do you know
he'll do?
Night Fever was written before the movie Saturday Night Fever? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, most people think that that song was written for Saturday Night Fever,
Yeah.
but it was that song that was the inspiration for Saturday Night Fever.
Cool.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a Bee Gees fan. I don't have it on my phone though. Or what do you call that?
It's a phone.
Yeah, but no, you could transfer it. I still carry the old iPhone around. You know, I mean the little thing that you have in your pocket, whatever they call that.
It's a phone, Hud.
Well, no, but it's a different device. Anyway, I don't have it on my.
You're talking about an iPod?
Yeah, I still have one of those.
Why? You
Are
can
those
just,
obsolete?
You can just put them on your phone now.
I know, hadn't got that far yet.
Okay.
This thing right here, I'll show it to you. Got no Bee Gees on there.
Maybe a lot of AC/DC though.
Well, that's back in the day. It's a little bit old here.
Shallow right center field. And Paredes goes out to make the play on Escobar. He's 1 for 4. You want some Bee Gees? I'll get you some Bee Gees.
I need some.
All right. Dyson is 0 for 3, but he reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 5-run second inning, and now he has his first hit. And he's digging for 2 as Borges plays it off the right field wall. So Dyson's at second base with 1 out, and the Royals have another 10-hit game.
Gives him 40. 40 10-hit games all year. It's pretty good.
Only the Red Sox have more in the major leagues. They have 46. Danny Duffy. I can't wait to ask him about his bunt. I think he tried to push it to the left side. I don't think that was an accident that he bunted it over Nola's head.
I mean, he's good, but I don't know if he's that good. I mean, that's hard to do. I never had a bunt like that before. And you know, that's all I did really. But you know, you have to have a plan for that. And when we showed the replay, I think you were correct because he had a little direction in his bat where he's pushing it.
Yeah.
He was trying to push it out there. Easy.
Two down. Dyson goes to third. And now Duffy has a little bit of time to catch his breath before taking the mound in the bottom of the 9th inning. Remember, you can follow the Royals live on your phone and tablet, not on your iPod, however, with MLB.com at bat. Stay up to the moment with game day, video highlights, StatCast, bilingual access, split views, radio broadcasts, news, and more. All of that with the MLB.com at bat app. Fouled back by Alex Gordon. Alex is 0 for 3 with a walk. Getting ready for the fireworks show after the game.
I think she is. It's a big holiday weekend here in Philly. Downtown was hopping last night. Tonight.
Over 40,000 here tonight. 40,331.
Now, when Danny takes the mound out there in the 9th inning, I would expect to hear the Royals fans a "Let's Go Royals" chant. Okay, now I'm expecting that. Because the fans got to know what's going on here with Danny Duffy going for a CG. It'll be the first one by a Royals starter this year.
Tough night for Alex, a 3 strikeout night. But the Royals have scored 6, and they hope to use only 1 pitcher tonight. Danny Duffy out for a complete game. Danny Duffy with a 7 strikeout night. None of those strikeouts with his fastball. Cody Ashe will lead off the bottom of the 9th inning as Danny goes for his first major league complete game and just his 2nd professional complete game. Cuthbert into foul ground to take care of Ashe. Duffy at Double-A Northwest Arkansas in 2010 had a complete game. The last Royals complete game was Johnny Cueto against the Tigers in his home debut last year. That was a shutout. And then, of course, Cueto pitched a complete game in Game 2 of the World Series.
What a great job by Duffy. No walks. Staying firm, 95, strong, well conditioned. 100th pitch coming.
And the Royals were very slow stretching out Danny Duffy. And for good reason. They wanted Duffy to pitch as a starter like he pitched out of the bullpen. Max effort. Just come at him full throttle like he was out of the bullpen. So you got to be a little more careful with that. So when you look at his 9 starts and pitch count, 48, 63, 76, 75, 80, 88, 88. And this is just the 3rd time he's gone over 100 pitches, and he has shown the Royals, and maybe more importantly, he has shown himself that he can maintain that stuff over the long haul.
Well, he's a well-conditioned athlete, we know, but Danny Duffy threw 103 pitches the last time against the Mets, and he only went 4 2/3. I heard some "Let's Go Royals" chanting. I could hear it. It's coming.
So a career high 8 1/3 innings for Danny Duffy. And this will be a season high 104th pitch. And he hit Ruiz for a second time tonight. Has Luke Kochaver, or he had Luke Kochaver warming up last inning. Now he's got Joakim Soria ready to go here in the 9th. Fouled back by Goodell.
This is where Danny wants to just stay focused and stay right down through the zone. Let him put it in play. You don't try too hard here to finish it off.
He's had a good breaking ball all night. 0-2 on Goodell. Still 0-2. Slide step. And he got him looking. 8 strikeouts. All with changeups and breaking balls.
Oh, yeah. There it was. Another off-speed breaking pitch. Filling up that strike zone.
Coming up, Boulevard Royals Live with Joel and Monty. A lot of talk about Danny Duffy. And some more talk about Kendrys Morales, who has 2 home runs tonight and has driven in 4 of the 6 runs. Ruiz takes second base. The Royals will allow him to do so. So Danny Duffy on Monday at Kauffman Stadium against the Cardinals gave up 2 runs, 3 batters into the game. He did not allow another run the entire game. Tonight he allowed a run 4 batters into the game and has not allowed a run since. And he and Salvador Perez, they've been playing together since they were 18 years old in rookie ball. They have been on the same page all night. There's a ground ball, base hit into left field. So Ruiz will score, and that'll make it 6-2. And I was watching Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez was looking in to the Royals dugout to see if Ned Yost was going to come out, and I got the feeling he didn't want Ned to come out. And as soon as Ned went up the stairs, Salvi just popped his fist into his glove like, darn it, we didn't get the 9 innings together.
Hey, the boss knows best, but listen to this ovation for Danny Duffy by the Royals fans. They are all standing. Great job.
Well, he didn't get the complete game, but it was a great night. Danny Duffy, back-to-back starts, 2 of the best of his career. 8 innings, no walks on Monday, 8 2/3 innings, no walks tonight. He has been charged with 2 runs. He's still responsible for the runner at first base as Joakim Soria comes in to try and nail this one down.
You know, Ned Yost, he knows best. There's no doubt about it. He's thinking about the long picture, the big picture, and so is Danny Duffy. In so many interviews that we've heard Danny talk about, you know, when we're complimenting him, and Joel might be talking about how good he's been going. He says, "I thank you, but you know, it's the long picture I'm thinking about, not the short term." And I know he's wanting to get his team back to postseason. It's a long-term goal.
Paredes slaps it up the left field line, and that's foul by less than a foot. This is Soria's game. And I bring that up because another base runner and the tying run is on deck, which creates a save situation. But nobody is warming up behind Joakim Soria.
0-2, 2 outs. I like his chances.
Got him with a high fastball. So Soria gets the final out as Danny Duffy gets the win. And the Royals pick up a game in the Central. Indians' 14-game winning streak came to an end in Toronto earlier today, and now the Royals even the series here in Philadelphia 6-2. Those two were on the same page all night, Danny Duffy and Salvador Perez. And Kendrys Morales had another big night with 2 home runs and 4 driven in.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, it's a team game, there's no doubt about it, but Duffy and Morales said, everybody else jump on our shoulders, we're going to carry you. And there they are, standing 1 and 2, greeting all the guys. Well done.